Hello and welcome to Pest in Class, Expert Voices in Pest Management. I am your host, Amanda Salvatore, and on today's episode, I talk with Crystal Williams, who is the founder and a strategist at Lemon Seed Marketing. We talked about how to create an authentic brand that speaks to your company's core values, social media strategies that are true to you, and the age-old question, mascot or logo? Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Pest in Class, Expert Voices in Pest Management. On today's episode, I have Crystal Williams. She is the founder and strategist of Lemon Seed Marketing.
Yeah.
Crystal, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, no, thank you. It's really my pleasure. It's so I love everything pest control right now. Slightly obsessed. So I'm ready.
Well, I want to know all about it. You have such an interesting journey and so much insight. I'm really excited to get into it. But first and foremost, a little get to know you, a
Okay.
little bit of an icebreaker. In your opinion, what is the best season and why?
So like I'm a little traditional girl. So I'm assuming you're talking about weather seasons, right? And like
Yes.
okay.
You know what,
So
though? If you want to do holiday,
I am gonna do holiday
do it.
because there's nothing like a good twist on things. But I live in Texas, so it's kind of a fall. We really don't have a winter. It's kind of an almost winter, but I just love the holiday season of the little bit cooler weather in East Texas. Your family's getting together. Things do get busier, but it's busier spending time together. And my boys are getting older, so they're 14 and 17. And so like I just know these years are fleeting. And so like I just enjoy like grandparents and all of that along with the cooler weather. But my origination come from the HVAC industry, so I hate mild weather for that reason.
Sure.
But altogether, I'd have to say just that being able to sit around a campfire, bonfire, kind of fun, and just being able to spend time with family.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, so we don't really have much of a winter per se. And the winter is, well, we do have a winter. It's true, we do have seasons. And that's why I was interested because I knew you were in Texas and I was like, what season is she gonna pick? But
Well,
our winter is essentially a beautiful fall day.
yeah.
And I'm like, I never was a winter person, but now living in Los Angeles, the fall, October, it's like 80, 85 degrees, and I don't want anything to do with it. So, needless to say, I'm with you on the winter holiday seasons now. I'm here for it.
Well, me too. And again, we come from 120-degree summers, and so a nice 80-degree day is like, oh man,
Yeah,
this is
you're like,
a
oh,
lie.
put on a little bit of a cardigan in
Yes,
80
yes,
degrees.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes. So
All right.
fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, how about you tell us a little bit about your journey into marketing?
Sure. So I say I was born a trade baby. I use that hashtag all the time. I grew up in the heating and air conditioning business. My grandfather, then my dad, now my brother, own and operate a heating and air conditioning company and now pest control company here in East Texas. And so I decided I was not going to work in that business as I became an adult and wanted to live my own life. I certainly didn't want anyone to be able to say, oh, she works for her daddy. And so I went off, but my mom told me one day we were sitting at Outback Steakhouse, and my mom was telling me that their waitress had gone and gotten a hospitality administration degree and was also minoring in marketing. And I was like, young, I was like, man, that sounds exactly like my personality. So I've always loved like speaking and being creative. I was always like that kid that was like, oh, you speak for the group, you're in charge of the group. And so I decided like that's what I was going to do. So I went to college, got my degree in communications and marketing, really learned a lot, but I really didn't learn anything until I went to work in the world. So until I actually went to work as a professional. And so I went to work for Lufkin Coca-Cola, which was a local bottling company. And I got to work with great brands. So like Dr. Pepper, Monster Energy drink, things like that. Coca-Cola, of course, which I'm from the heartland of Dr. Pepper. So there are people on here that are like Dr. Pepper, but the P word in our house is a different P word. We don't drink Pepsi. But so I loved that. It was a great local family. But my brother called me in 2014 and said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to buy another company. I need somebody to come in and help me with employee retention our marketing co-op dollars through our manufacturers, and also like just be creative for us to help us stay on brand. So we did that. I decided that was a good move. My family, thankfully, the Lord has really blessed our family with, we're just a close family. And so I didn't have any problems going to work for him. He is my younger brother. That's the only issue that I had. Um,
Sure.
yeah.
I
But
hear
anyway,
that.
so went to work. And then that's kind of how I got into marketing is I really started learning the home services. And one day I literally woke up and was like, man, these same principles we could apply to other businesses. So when my brother-in-law, he was a police officer, he was trying to get out of that work so that he could have a better work-life balance. We were like, you know what we could do? Let's really rock on a pest control company. And I'd already learned so much marketing from just getting into people's homes for other services that it just kind of leaned into that. And before I knew it, in between those two times of us opening the pest control company and going to work for my brother, I started like moonlighting for 4 or 5 friends and organizing their marketing for their company. So before I knew it, I had a full blown company on my hands, and that's how Lemon Seed was born. And so naturally, when my brother-in-law and sister took on the pest control side, I took on all the marketing side for it.
That is incredible. I love how you took what you've learned and also just married it with the family business as well, and that positive learning transfer. It's really cool. And I can already tell by the first 5 minutes of our conversation that you are a leader and a mover and a shaker, which I
Well,
love.
I hope so. I try to be. I try to be.
Absolutely. Oh, I can tell for
Uh-huh.
sure. Tell me a little bit about the name Lemon Seed Marketing, because I read this on your site and I really think it exemplifies the attention to detail that you bring to the company.
Well, so I hope so. It's actually a pretty unique story. So, when I was working for my family's company, I needed tons of graphic design things. We were rewrapping trucks, we created a mascot, we did all these things. So, I was serving on a nonprofit board, met this lady named Emily. She and her husband had the local print shop. She was a graphic designer, and they did all of our signage and all of our trucks. And so, when Trey, my brother, said, "Hey, I think we can do this," I was like, I know who I want to bring with me. So I went to Emily and I was kind of operating under some different names. I had literally just gotten started on my own as a fractional CMO style role, chief marketing officer role. So when I brought Emily on, she said, "Okay, but we're going to rebrand this thing together. And so tell me about like what we're going to be for contractors." And so I said, "Well, what about if we're like, I just want to get the most out of their budgets. I want to help them feel organized and bright and fresh in their markets and just, feisty." And so she came back and was like, "You want to squeeze the most out of their budget. We're going to be zesty. So what about lemon seed?" And I was like, I freaking love that it is so random. So a lot of people, and my brother, he also owns part of Lemon Seed Marketing with me. We do a lot of things together. But he was like, "Oh my gosh." So we call him the sour lemon, but we love him. But
Excellent.
Emily and I are super passionate about branding. And so if you see Lemon Seed anywhere, you're going to see us in yellow. We are the girls in yellow blazers, yellow. Everything you get from us is going to be yellow or lemon scented. And we really try to own the brand. We try to practice what we preach.
Yeah, exactly. You want to showcase that you know what you're talking about. Why not start with your
Absolutely.
business? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know that you just started in pest control. Can you tell me a little bit about the company and the services that you guys are providing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just decided that we felt like pest control would be a great place to apply what we had learned and through other home service trades, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, and marketing. And so we started searching for a name and we went through numerous name ideas, but we ended with Spot On Pest Control because everything we do is spot on. Now we had saved some money to have towards building up our brand up front because again, we learned from our past mistakes with other companies. So, as far as the branding goes, we just really wanted to have something different and unique in our market. So, my dad said, well, my brother in law, my sister, my dad said, "Well, what about a ladybug?" And we were like, no, like, we're not going to take that idea from you. But the more we kind of played around with it, the more we were like, man, spots, and it was bright red. And so we ended up creating Johnny because it's Johnny on the spot.
Spot. Nice.
And so
Well done.
he's Johnny the ladybug, which is it's weird and it's always a topic of conversation. So when we tell everybody our ladybug's name is Johnny, they're like, "That's a boy name." So we kind of it just naturally leads into conversation. which no pun intended here, but kind of. Generating the buzz around a new company was all that we needed to do. So we just started by providing a unique character, Johnny. We wrapped 2 trucks, Toyota Tacomas. We put a bed on the back or a camper shell on the back of them, wrapped them. We are bright red and yellow with a gigantic ladybug on the side. We say Spot On Pest Control. We bought my brother-in-law and our partner, so we actually acquired a company. We had a guy that was wanting to just kind of do something different. He's like, man, I've done as much as I can do on my own. I would love to get with someone that wants to take this company to the next level. I only want to work 3 or 5 more years. And he matched our core values, who we are as people. We are devout Christians, and so he matched that. We just wanted to be truthful and transparent and provide good services for our market. And he just was a good fit for the company. So he didn't know what he signed up for because he had ran this nice little quiet pest control company, and he comes into the marketing meeting. He goes, I've never had a marketing meeting for my pest control business. And I said, well, Bill, buckle up, buddy, because we are Johnny is hitting the streets. And so we did introduced him to who Johnny was going to be. Because one thing I'll tell you, it was very important to me that both Chris, my brother-in-law, and my sister, Tiffany, and Bill, the guy that owned the company, it was very important to me that they understood why we were called Spot On, the point behind Johnny, why we had a guy name. And then more importantly, the reason that we chose Johnny, the secondary reason, was unfortunately my family had been affected by suicide. My grandfather, back in 2014, he was going through a lot of health issues and unfortunately committed suicide. It was terrible for our family, a very tragic thing. And so we actually shared that same tragedy with Bill. He had actually also experienced some of those things in his life. And so we wanted to go ahead and announce that our initiative as a company, what we were going to be giving back to was spotting the signs of mental health and how we can support people through tragedy like suicide. And so I really wanted to prepare Chris and Mr. Greer, Mr. Bill, for, why we were called Spot On, the point behind Johnny, why we were wrapping trucks, and why the importance of branding was so important up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And also using that brand to help others and be a part of your community, something that it speaks authentically to who you are and how can you help your community. I think is such a wonderful thing to do, not only because it's a good thing to do, but also it's great to get out there, showcase your brand and your core values.
Well, and what's important too is like people want to do business with people that they relate to, that they have a relationship with. And it sounds super corny and people are like, blah, 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 but honestly, if you think about real relationships in your life, it's because there's some point of connection. And so not only are we already going to give back to our community, we try to be a good place to work. We use local services. We buy everything locally. We support locally. But now we wanted to give back to things that personally affected us. And so that was a really important piece that we have. And so we're launching that initiative this year. Another thing that we did was a whole set of billboards, and we got a new website, and we really went all in for a pest control company and just offering the basic pest control services, termite inspections, and also bed bug inspections and treatments. And now our biggest thing that we launched right now is we're in East Texas, and so deep in the piney woods. And so mosquitoes are like tiny dragons everywhere. And so we've launched our mosquito program. And so right now, all of our marketing is around mosquitoes and those pain points. And so like one marketing thing that we're using right now is if people sign up for our monthly maintenance agreements or treatment plans, as we call them, spot guards, we're doing a free mosquito spray because it's very low cost. The margins are very high on mosquito spray. And so we know that's a pain point for people right now. And so we're like, man, maybe we can utilize this as an incentive to go ahead and choose Spot On's monthly packages. So that was our strategy going into market, is just be reliable, dependable, answer the phone, provide a variety of ways to get your pest control and your treatments and also mosquitoes. And that's how we went to market. And that's what we've been doing.
Amazing. It sounds like you guys are on a roll. And I know that a lot of companies and owners who are listening might find marketing and branding to be this elusive thing. How do I make these decisions? What are my values? How do I showcase those? So when would you suggest a company who is interested in rebranding reach out? When is that kind of that tipping point of when they seek help?
So much of this depends on fiscal abilities, so, not everyone has a cash flow at the beginning. Some people are just starting grassroots. And so my suggestion, honestly, is the sooner you can get a good brand, the better. So
Mm.
as soon as you can afford to get a solid set of graphics, so there's more to a brand than just a logo. Okay, so a logo is great, but really it should be a piece of a giant puzzle, not the whole puzzle itself. So a logo is great and it should visually iterate who you are as a company. And many of you are called like something generic, like last name pest control, right? Or such and son pest control, or just a basic name, like kill the bug pest control. So I really say every day that you're in business, you're building a brand, whether you like it or not. You're telling the community who your brand is. So you're already doing it. You just might want to be a lot more intentional about how you're doing it. And so I tell everyone your trucks, how your technicians look, even how your invoices look, how your emails look, how you answer the phone, what you support on social media, all of those things are the holistic look at a deep dive into who you are as a person. So a brand is how you make your community feel about doing business with you. And so I would tell you, as soon as you can afford to get a full plan together by like a branding expert, go for it. So like Lemon Seed does those things for contractors for all different home services. And our packages start anywhere at $5,000 and go up because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of brain power that goes into it. But I will say this, I'm going to tell you guys, like I tell every other contractor, every single one of you has a story that needs to be told. It doesn't have to be a story full of tragedy or triumph or, hey, I just learned pest control from this other company and wanted to do it on my own. You still have story to tell and people want to hear it. And so people want to know, like, why did you choose the color green? Well, I chose the color green because it was my grandma's favorite color. Like even those things are great stories. And so you have to become a good storyteller. You need to become a good visualizer. I call it casting the vision, but that sounds very Christian of me. But cast the vision for your community on why they should choose you. But I would say the earlier the better.
Yeah, you want to get started as soon as possible and really solidify. I really love this idea of asking those questions. What are some things what are like easy ins for business owners to think about when they're deciding on a brand? Some questions they can ask themselves to be able to bring out their story, especially if they feel like they don't have one.
Yeah, so let me tell you, like, one of the things that I always like to start with is like literally if I were to say, tell me about yourself. And you're gonna say something along the lines of, depending on your age and where you live, but something along the lines of, well, when I'm not doing pest control, I'm at the ball field because our whole life is surrounded by baseball and my kids play travel baseball, right? So you're gonna say, what's the name of your kids' baseball team? Oh, well, it's called the Typhoons. They've been on this for a long time. It's a family tradition that you play baseball. And I'm like, oh, so baseball means a lot to you. Right? So we could be home run pest control. So you see, like you just start literally talking out loud. Like, me and my wife, like our favorite thing to do is, hang out at the beach. We love going to the beach. It's like our safe place. And so it could be, ride the wave pest control where we got a surfer dude. But if you just start talking about things that you like, things that you've done, things you've experienced, the other thing that I encourage people to do is think outside the box a little bit of literally this is a writing exercise. I use a dry erase board. People make fun of me because my dry erase board, you can come in there and it'll have random things written on it. And it's mainly because I'm trying to come up with a billboard campaign. And I start off with, a spot. And then I'll write the word mosquito. And then I'll write the word fly. And then I'll write the word swat. And then I'll write fly swatter. I just keep writing words until I'm like, I wonder if I could put these two words together. And it's just brainstorming. But then a good identifier is go see if it's available on Facebook, Instagram, and then go check for the URL. Like if you want to be home run pest control, let's say that's what you want to be. I can guarantee you more than likely that's already taken. So then you have to start pivoting from there. Is it Grand Slam pest control? And is it trademarked? Like you can just start doing research and you can expound, okay, well, home run's not available. What's another term? What's another way to look at baseball? Maybe it's batter up pest control. We're always on deck for your home. Like, all
Are you
these
just
things.
coming up with this stuff on the spot? You're
Yes.
good.
But
You're so
I mean,
good.
but this is what I do though, like every
Yeah.
day. is listen to people's story and try to help them have an identity that can be visually interpreted, and then all the taglines and fun stuff that come with it. I mean, so I would just tell you, like, literally start writing your story. Who you are, where you came from. So here's a funny story. I had a contractor call me and say, hey, so I said, what's the name of your company? And I'm going to make this up, but he was like, Yellow Highway, heating and air conditioning. And I said, okay, so are you on a yellow highway? He was like, no. Is the name of the highway yellow? No. Okay. Is yellow your favorite color? No. Okay. What does yellow mean? He goes, well, I really just used a random name generator and named my company. So I was like, okay, that's really hard to make a connection. I had another vendor, a pest control guy, that had a parrot as his mascot. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you raise parrots? No. So why did you pick a parrot? Oh, I just like the look of the parrot. Yeah. So, sir, like, how are we going to? We've got to make a story up now, literally. So most of you, if you'll write down, what did you love to do as a kid? What streets did you live on? What was your favorite thing to do? Your last name sometimes can be even manipulated into something cool. Your pastimes, your kids' names, your places things that are important to you, like core values. Where do you like to vacation? Where can we find you on a Saturday afternoon? Is it in a hammock? So are you relaxed with us, pest control, relaxed to the max? Like all these, we can just get lots of things out of just that little brainstorming and storytelling about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really loving this personalized touch into it, really making it about who you are and also not necessarily just about what you do professionally, but also what you do for fun. What is it about you that what gets you excited every day? As someone is going into branding, you kind of mentioned this, and I wanted to talk about it. Logo versus mascot. How do you make that decision, and what are the benefits to each of those?
So, and this gets a little particular because there's lots of ways to look at this, right? So, a logo is the visual interpretation of your company. So, it may or may not include a character or a symbol. I recommend really bringing that character to life. So, if you are going to use a character, you really should bring that character to life. So, like, one of the things that we did at Spot On is we have purchased a full parade quality mascot. Now, it was like $5,800. Okay. So, that's a lot of money, but we already have a plan for the year of where he is going to go. So, we know what festivals, we know what school events. We already signed up to be the magic reader at our library. And so we already have Johnny stickers made, all of those things, because we know that we're going to get our use out of that $5,800 investment. And so if you're not going to really invest into making that character a part of your marketing, so maybe your different plans that you have every month or for people to choose from, maybe they're named after your mascot. So for example, let's go back to that home run, and I'm making up all of this, so it's not exactly fleshed all the way out, but let's say you wanted to have a little Coach Roach. That's who your mascot is, okay? So he has a little pinstripe outfit on, but if you take the Coach Roach out to every Little League opening day in your market, and he's there and you're giving out $50 off coupons and stickers, and he does autographs and does all of those things. Guys, that is like branding gold. That is amazing ways to engage with your community. Think about all the people that are going to take a picture with the Roach Coach. There's some cool stuff that you can do there, like giving you a strategy for your home, just cool stuff like that. So I really encourage you, if you're going to choose a mascot, embrace that idea. Give him a TikTok handle. Let him do fun stuff on social media. Name your packages after him. Answer the phone that way. Like, thanks for calling Home Run Pest Control. Coach Roach speaking here, like some fun stuff. But that's for brand building. That's for engagement. And it's really important that you own that. On the other side of that, not everyone's built to have a mascot and a character. Some of you are way too serious for that and forgot how to have fun, but that's okay. So let's
You got to get on board with the Roach Coach, you guys.
Yeah, come on, guys. Everybody. And what I most of the time have to tell contractors, I'm not going to make you get in it. We're going to pay a high school kid to get in it. But on the other side, some of you that are a little bit more serious. And so let's say that you're like, Twisted Arrow Pest Control, because you are a Boy Scout and you want to give homage to that. So you're going to do something with twisted arrows. Then I would literally go, again, wholeheartedly is the word I'm looking for there, wholeheartedly with this arrow theme. And so, like, I would be the sponsor of all the signage on everything. And every arrow would be the same arrow I use in my logo because go this way. Like we always point you in the right direction for pest control. Like, so a lot of that is just depending on the personality behind the brand. So, like, if you're not an outgoing, energized style person, then a mascot's going to be hard. You're actually going to dread it. So then you can look around and say, do I have someone on my team that can really support the energy that mascots take? If not, I just would steer away from a mascot strategy, and just own the more serious style of things. Like, not everybody's attracted to these crazy roach coaches and Johnny the Ladybugs either. It's just, I just want to encourage you to own whatever brand you put out there, because there are great companies that utilize a mascot that don't just own the mascot. So, you don't have to have him made into a full mascot that goes into the community, but I would at least identify who he is. So I deal with contractors all the time and I'm like, tell me about this pirate. And they're like, well, it's just a pirate. Well, who is he? Just if somebody I found was a designer designed him for me. I'm like, so this pirate, you don't even have a connection with this pirate. How do you expect your market to have a connection with this pirate? They don't. So there's just an opportunity. I don't say it's not a mistake. There's just an opportunity for you to up your marketing by just getting on board with the full mascot idea.
Amazing. I also think that if you're going with a mascot, it sounds very much like you are going into the community a lot with that mascot. And it is in with a lot of people, way to connect. And logo, a little bit more serious, a little bit more buttoned up, but also behind that logo, no matter what it is, having intentionality, having a connection to it. It really speaking to who you are is incredibly important overall. Either or, mascot, logo, whatever
Correct.
it is, it has to be authentic to who you are and you connect to it.
Correct. So I say this all the time too. Good marketing is not a Band-Aid for bad operations. So you have got to have your operations under control, and it also has to be reflective of your brand. So for example, if you're telling me that you're Johnny on the spot, I would assume that you have a quick response time. Johnny on the spot does not say I'll be out there in 4 weeks. What you actually do, your behaviors, your actions also have to reflect this brand that you're putting out there because, again, regardless of mascot or not, you're trying to make a full experience with your company. And guys, listen, I know some of you are like, this is crazy. Like, is she talking about killing bugs here? I am, because I'm talking about how you build a long-term, successful, fiscally profitable company. And that is not by being fly by night. I'm just a good guy doing good things. It's really investing in who you want to be known as in the market and making sure that all aspects of your company reflect that brand. And so there's a lot to be said there for making sure that every aspect of your business matches what you're telling people that you want to be perceived as.
Yes, it's all about consistency.
Yeah.
I want to pivot to social media because I know that we've talked a bit about branding and marketing, but social media seems to be a question. How do I do it? And how do I do it efficiently and well and really get the name out there? I think that when you're in pest control, oftentimes people are like, it's not sexy. This isn't cool.
Yeah.
And then you realize that actually with social media, what you're putting out, what you're putting out there is important and you can get a following. How do you suggest to someone who is looking to get out there in social media? What would you suggest to them, especially if they're coming from this mentality of like, what's this going to do for me? This isn't sexy. This feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. So social media is not a selling platform. People do not go to social media to be sold. So take the weight off of your shoulders for that. The good news is they're not trying to be sold. The bad news for a lot of you is you're probably too uptight. You're going to struggle with social media. So the key to social media is, again, here I come again, relatability, things that are funny, things that lighten the load off of our mental day. And so if you're like, everything you put on social media is graphics or it's very text heavy or it's very salesy, people are not going to engage with it. So you've got to throw in, number one, some video content that's lighthearted. So instead of posting a review that you get on Google My Business or Google Business Profile, why don't you have that technician or that guy read the review? And so video them and say, Tim from Lufkin says, this was the best experience I've ever experienced from a pest control company. And then have them like lean into the camera and wink, and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Like reading this review is hilarious. And so, yes, you could have just posted the review, like shared it. But the the video of someone reading that review is drastically going to get more interaction. People are going to laugh. They're going to chuckle, and they might even possibly share it. And that is social media gold right there, is when you can do something funny, entertaining, and they watch the whole video. Also, like when you're getting ready, like to launch the mosquito plan, what we've done is we've gone out, we chose 5 people in 5 different little areas where we live. And we just said, hey, will you let us video us putting the new mosquito program out in your backyard? So, because you know what I wanted to show? I wanted to show swing sets. And I wanted to show like sand areas in people's backyard. I wanted to show beautiful landscaping and swimming pools and barbecue pits and people in their homes, because that is what people relate to. People are going to be like, oh man, I could put that mosquito care program out there and it would be near my kids' place area. That would be great. They wouldn't get bit up all summer long. And showing like a couple sitting on a porch swing. Well, you can't do that in April in East Texas because mosquitoes will literally carry you off. They're little pterodactyls out there. So, I wanted the video content. So we shot all of that video content specifically for social media, because people, we call it stop that thumb scroll, right? How do we stop the scroll? Well, graphics are going to be hard to do it with. A meme sometimes will stop the graphic or stop the scroll, but video content right now will definitely stop the scroll. But you can't be like, I'm just going to give you some pro tips here. You can't be like, hey guys, it's Crystal. I'm out here in East. People have already scrolled on. Boo, right? You have to be fast and energetic, and you have to say, are you guys getting carried off with mosquitoes? Let's go. Let me show you where we can put them in your backyard. And people are like, yeah, they don't even know why, but they're like, yes,
I don't even live in East Texas, but yes, it's those first few seconds.
Yes.
Really, like you have to hook, line, and sink like as soon as possible.
Yes. We call it the hook, literally, like you just said. So your hook has to be strong, but social media is best used for just building some relationships, some awareness about the brand. And we have a jingle, so we went ahead and got a jingle done. I'll send it to you, and so maybe you can put it in the show notes or something. But it's everything we do is, and it makes this little ding spot on. And so that my brother-in-law is a nut. He is crazy, fun, just real energetic and outgoing. And so he can be real silly. And so like he'll sing it, like he'll talk and he'll just randomly sing the jingle, and like people just crack up at it. And it's because his personality shines through these funny little quirky things that he does. And sometimes I have to say, no, this is a serious one. Okay, I want you to be serious. But the other day I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to drive up and I want you to get out of your truck and like run up and like do a toe touch because our mosquito programs got there. And he was like, oh, done. And so you'll see you can see on our social media, there's several little videos of him just being fun and silly. And I asked for an interesting fact about him the other day for our newsletter that we send out. We use Service Titan's Marketing Pro style program, and we were sending out an email, and I said, listen, I need a funny fact about you for this newsletter. And he goes, well, I love pickles. Like, that is so weird.
Hilarious.
Okay.
And relatable.
But honestly, that's the kind of stuff. But now Mr. Bill, the other guy, he's a lot more serious. And so he took it a lot more serious, and he gave me a recipe for a rub that he uses for brisket, okay? None of those have anything to do with pest control, really. But what it's done is it's humanized us as a company, and people are like, oh my gosh, I love those guys over at Spot On. So social media just needs to be doing unique things. So I know a lot of you will like clear spider webs, right? That's a part of what you do. And so turn on like some fun music and say, it's Friday and I'm dancing these spider webs away. And use your favorite song where people are going to be like, oh my gosh, everybody loves this song, Sweet Home Alabama, or whatever. And you play something fun. That will get so much more traction than we take credit cards.
Sure. It sounds like social media is an opportunity to showcase personality.
Yes.
And the people within your company. And the more you get to know the people within the company, the more likely you're able to retain that information. And when you do have a pest issue, you know who to call. You have that
Yes.
they're in the back of your brain with that jingle.
Yeah, so
And
I
they're
call
like,
it brainwashing.
yes.
We gotta break so here's my saying, dig your well before you're thirsty, okay? So we have to really cultivate our market to know who we are before they need pest control services. The good news is everybody needs the reoccurring services, but not everyone prioritizes the reoccurring services. So you have to get in there a lot of times on treatments of things, roaches, mice. In East Texas, we got possums and raccoons and all kinds of things going on. But once you get in the home, the opportunity to show them your reoccurring service plans for basic pest control is really how you're going to make your money. And so, the reoccurring revenue side of things is where you can really start building wealth in your business. I mean, then the treatment side is like icing on the cake. You just keep working those treatments. But if you're not flipping a one-time treatment over to your maintenance club, you're really missing the boat. So I really encourage you, like, get good at that sales piece. And so if you're going to talk about your maintenance programs, your preventative programs, talk about them in a video. So like, hey guys, it's Crystal with Spot On Pest Control. I just wanted to tell you why Spot On, we feel like we really have created the best preventative maintenance for your home. And this is why. It's safe for pets. We show up. You don't have to be home, whatever you want to say. But again, it's better in a video and introducing yourself like, hey guys, it's Crystal. I'm riding the streets around Lufkin today. I wanted to stop and take a minute to tell you about how our preventative maintenance plans work. It's dragging them in versus it just being a graphic or trying to sell them like, sign up today. That's
Yeah.
terrible. People do not want that. And I'm not saying you don't mix some of that in on your schedule of what's going to go on your social media. Definitely, you can mix a little bit in, but understand what's going to grow your social media following is going to be the engaging pieces.
Yes. What would you say to a owner who's thinking about jumping into social media, but also the daunting task of creating content while also being a business owner?
It's going to be daunting, and so you just have to own the fact that it's going to be daunting. So my biggest piece of advice there is to be at least an organized daunting task. So what I encourage people is, number one, everything that you are doing every day is something that you should be filming. So if you're like, you know what, tomorrow I know I have these 5 things on my schedule, I'm going to set my video camera up tomorrow and record myself cleaning cobwebs, spraying around a house, filling my sprayer, getting out of my truck, driving up to the house. I'm going to video all of that. And I kind of call it a media day. So spend one day just collecting so much content. See if the homeowner's willing to let you video you walking up to the door and shaking their hand, or even videoing the problem. Like, someone has a roach infestation. Will they, with permission, let you show undefining pieces of things, right? So if they've got like mouse droppings everywhere, utilize pictures and graphics from that don't identify the home or the homeowner, of course, but allow you to say, have you seen this in your house, right? So choose a couple of days that are your media days where you choose to dress nice, you choose to have your truck clean, and know that you're going to shoot content on that day. And then build your content, your actual posting around the content that you gathered, instead of vice versa, trying to make yourself gather what you need. But I encourage you to have days of where you plan that out. I think it takes 4 hours, which sounds crazy, but 4 hours to plan a full social media marketing plan on the different platforms. And I mean, like, writing out your scripts, writing out when you're going to record, planning what you're going to wear, all of those things. I think it takes 4 hours to plan for the next month. So you could start right now looking at the month of April and check out dates of things like maybe it's National Cricket Day, or National Chocolate Donut Day, right? So if it's National Chocolate Donut Day, you could take donuts to your local police station and take a picture and say, Spot On Pest Control was really excited to support the Diboll Police Department for National Chocolate Donut Day, because remember, everything we do and they do is spot on. And so easy. So then you tell yourself, I'll go ahead and write my caption, and then I need to go 2 days before and take pictures. And so you just set a calendar reminder. It just takes being intentional. And so a lot of people want social media to be easy, and it's just not easy. It is easy in a sense of if you organize yourself, but it's not easy to get done. It always will get pushed to be last if you don't prioritize it yourself. My biggest thing is if you have like someone answering your phones, like a CSR, customer service rep, or maybe a cousin, a sister, a brother, a neighbor that's willing to do your social media, it is worth paying them $500, $700, $250, whatever you're going to ask them to do a month, to create your content for you.
Amazing. That's really helpful to have somebody who is available to keep it on task, to keep
Especially if you're
you
not
on
good.
task.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. I want to say thank you so much for coming on today. But before we go, I really want to dive in a little bit into your podcast.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have a podcast. I'd love to hear about it and what you talk about and where we can find it.
Yeah, so a little bit like back to lemon seed marketing. So, lemon seed marketing, we're basically like fractional chief marketing officers. We do all of these things. What we've talked about today, we organize the branding and all of that. So I just decided, and my partner, Emily, she was like, no, I do not want, what are we? But I was like, I know we can do it. And so, in true branding fashion, our podcast is called From the Yellow Chair. And like, I'm actually sitting in a yellow chair now because our chairs are yellow. But I really just want to talk to anyone in the home service industry about how do you market different things. And so we talk about financing and how do I market financing? How do I keep employees and how does my marketing affect that? How do I build my brand? How do I build longevity through direct mail or through email marketing, through social media, through community? So I just talk about those things and give ideas and advice and ways to get into more homes.
Absolutely. Well, you have a new listener
Oh,
with
great.
me. I'm going to check it out. I'm very excited. And I know that our listeners are going to put that in their queue as well.
Perfect, and
Thank
you can
you.
follow us on social media as
Yes,
well. We try to post lots of things on social media too.
absolutely. Yeah, everybody check it out. Thank you again, Crystal Williams, for coming on to the podcast and giving us a crash course
Ah,
in marketing and social media and rebranding. Anyone who's out there who is interested, reach out to Lemon Seed Marketing. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And thank you so much for coming on.
absolutely. Thank you. It's been a
Of
blast.
course.